The red planet has intrigued astronomers since the 2nd millennium BCE. We could start using technology to study the planet only in the 60s, after which we landed NASA's Viking 1 on Mars in 1975. Mankind has achieved many successful missions to Mars since then, giving us a glimpse into life on our neighboring planet. While we may not have proof of life on Mars, the data and images captured by rovers reveal some interesting and rather surprising secrets. The Dragon Scales of Mars, photographed by NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. This intriguing texture is the result of rock interacting with water. The rock was then eroded and later exposed to the surface. This pinkish, almost dragon-like appearing surface represents the Martian bedrock that has altered into clay-bearing rock. The study of these rocks on Mars is an active investigation in the science community, as the findings help us understand the past climate on the planet and if it ever harbored life. Finding these rocks indicate that the early Martian climate wasn't as close to Earth as scientists once thought. But this doesn't disprove life on Mars. Ongoing studies of dry and cold areas on our planet have shown that life finds a way to adapt. It's no surprise that all organisms, big and small, evolve to their conditions, but some need more protection than others, especially in a foreign land. This next discovery might just be able to provide it for human settlers on Mars. Deep black hole. This geological oddity spans 100 meters or 330 feet across and is located on a lava plain to the northeast of Arsia Mons. This image was captured by the Reconnaissance Orbiter almost 14 years ago, and it is as intriguing now as it was then. The spot lacks a raised rim or tossed out materials, so it couldn't have been caused upon an impact by an alien body. No walls can be spotted either, so it must be perfectly vertical or incredibly dark. On Earth, similar holes can be found in Hawaii's Volcanoes National Park. It is formed by fast-flowing lava. Such caverns can be big enough to house entire planetary bases, which means human settlers on Mars could have already the protection they need from the harsh Martian weather. Or maybe it is already being used as habitat by some. Faces. What are the chances of seeing an eerily human-like face on another planet? As strange as it may sound, it actually happened. NASA's Viking 1 captured this image while traveling past the planet in 1976. It was likely quite a surprise for those working in mission control here on Earth, but the sensation was short-lived. Scientists quickly learned that it was just another Martian mesa. Just unusual shadows, which are common around Cydonia, making it look like the head of an Egyptian pharaoh. Similar photographs have shown rabbits and feminine statues. It was an exciting time in space exploration when people wanted to believe the unbelievable. Some occurrences are less exciting than a face, but they are intriguing nonetheless. Martian blueberries. These tiny spheres on the surface are near the Fram crater, visited by the Exploration rover in 2004. It's an example of the mineral concretions scientists have nicknamed blueberries. The image shows an area of 1.2 inches or 3 centimeters across. It was photographed by a microscopic imager, and research has shown these are hematite-rich mineral concretions. These were formed by the action of mineral-laden water inside rocks, which is evidence that Mars was once wet. Concretions happen when minerals precipitate out of the water to become hard masses inside sedimentary rocks. Mystery spheres. Spherical objects concentrated around Kirkwood on the western rim of the Endeavour crater differ from the iron-rich blueberries we found in 2004. They measure only 3 millimeters in diameter, and they do not contain the same high iron content the blueberries do. It was an extraordinary find because scientists couldn't fathom how these formations came to be. The earlier found blueberries were hard masses inside rocks, but the Kirkwood spheres were broken up and some were eroded by wind. Morse codes. If human faces in the sand are strange, forms of human communication are stranger still. This image was captured in 2016 by the high-resolution imaging science experiment camera on the Reconnaissance Orbiter. Dunes often tell us about wind direction. but the shapes and orientations of these seem complex, and it's difficult to tell wind direction. These dunes form distinct dots and dashes, like Morse codes, and while some occurrences on Mars baffle us, others are too familiar. The Devils of Mars. Astronauts will visit Mars years from now, and when they get there, dust devils will be waiting. The Opportunity rover captured an image of the landscape of Mars in 2016. In it, scientists could see dust devils, not unlike what we have on Earth. The sand in the lower part of a Martian dust devil would be the biggest hazard. The atmospheric pressure on Mars is only 1% of what is on Earth, so you wouldn't feel much wind against you, but you'd still be impacted by high-speed material. Moreover, the dust and sand could be electrically charged to the point of creating electromagnetic interference in spacesuits and vehicles. Avalanches. Every spring, the sun shines on the North Polar layer deposits on Mars. The warmth destabilizes the ice, and the blocks start breaking loose. When they reach the bottom of a 500-meter-tall cliff, the blocks kick up a thick cloud of dust. The layers below are different colors and textures, and though dangerous, they make for a beautiful sight. An extraterrestrial meteorite. January 6, 2005, the Opportunity rover found a large meteorite on Mars, the first one we ever discovered on another planet. It was found to be of iron and nickel, which is common in space rocks found on Earth. Iron meteorites typically originate as the core material of melted asteroids. They allow the molten metal fraction of the asteroid's composition to sink into the center and form a core. Studying them gives us a record of different asteroids that broke up and landed on our planet and our neighboring planet. In addition to that, we also understand how prolonged exposure to a Martian environment impacts these meteorites and compare it to how our environment affects them. Our planets share some similarities, but there's one striking similarity that fuels mankind's reason to live on Mars. Liquid water. In 2015, NASA gave the news that changed our understanding of our neighboring planets.
Today we're going to announce that under certain circumstances, liquid water has been found on Mars.
The reconnaissance orbiter revealed signatures of hydrated minerals on slopes where we often see mysterious streaks. These streaks seem to ebb and flow as we observe them over time. They darken and appear to flow down steep slopes during warm seasons and then fade in cooler seasons. They appear in several locations on Mars when temperatures are above -10 degrees Fahrenheit or -23 degrees Celsius and disappear when it's colder. These downhill flows, known as recurrent slope lineae, often have been described as possibly related to liquid water. A multitude of dried-up riverbeds, deltas, lake basins, and inland seas prove that the red planet was once blue. It may have had one or several oceans in the northern hemisphere, but today, aside from some briny underground lakes, most of the planet's water is locked away in polar caps or buried under the surface. By looking at the chemistry of Martian meteorites through the ages, we can estimate how much water, as ice, liquid, or vapor, would have been present at various points throughout its history. In its earliest years, if all that water were in liquid form, it could cover the whole planet in a shallow ocean 150 to 800 feet deep. It isn't much when you compare it to Earth's 11,000 feet, but it's certainly more than we anticipated. Mars had a more substantial atmosphere in the past, and its pressure allowed liquid water to sit on the surface. But NASA's MAVEN orbiter found that much of the planet's atmosphere was stripped away by solar winds 500 million years after the planet's formation. As we learn more about our neighbor, we move closer to humanity's dream of becoming an interplanetary species. It doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore. Though dangerous, the venture poses infinite possibilities. Man's curious nature will not allow the Martian terrain to go unexplored. Until the day we can settle on the red planet, we can continue to marvel at the stark differences and surprising similarities between our worlds.